In the world of cinema, some movies are born to fail, but that doesn't mean they stay forgotten. The 1980s were packed with ambitious sci-fi films that bombed at the box office, leaving producers and critics scratching their heads. Yet, against all odds, these so-called flops managed to ignite a passionate following, transforming from critical disappointments to cult legends. From bizarre plots and experimental visuals to unconventional characters, these films had something that time and the fans couldn't ignore. So what happened? How did these sci-fi bombs become timeless treasures embraced by die-hard fans who saw beyond their initial failures? Buckle up as we take a journey through some of the most underappreciated sci-fi gems from the 80s that failed at first but now reign supreme in pop culture. 1. Blade Runner, 1982. When Blade Runner was released, it failed to connect with mainstream audiences who found its bleak dystopian future too dark and its narrative too complex. Directed by Ridley Scott, the film is based on Philip K. Dick's novel Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep and is set in a future Los Angeles where bioengineered beings called replicants are created for slave labor off-world. The story follows Rick Deckard, Harrison Ford, who is a former cop who is tasked with hunting down rogue replicants who have returned to Earth. The film's cinematography, sound design, and innovative special effects set a high bar for future sci-fi films, but it was initially a box office failure. However, Blade Runner found its true place in pop culture through home video, and its themes about humanity, artificial intelligence, and the ethics of technology have only become more relevant as time has passed. The film's visual style, blending futuristic tech with decaying urban landscapes, defined the cyberpunk genre. Over the years, Blade Runner has been re-evaluated and is now considered one of the greatest sci-fi films ever made, influencing everything from video games to modern filmmaking. 2. Cherry 2000, 1987. Cherry 2000 takes place in a post-apocalyptic future where androids are commonplace and humans rely on them for companionship. The story follows Sam Treadwell, David Andrews, a businessman whose android wife, Cherry, Pamela Gidley, malfunctions beyond repair. Desperate to replace her, Sam embarks on a dangerous journey across the desert to find a new model. Accompanied by a tough tracker, EJ, Melanie Griffith, Sam faces a chaotic world filled with oddball characters and harsh conditions. The film combines a blend of dystopian themes and romance, reminiscent of both Mad Max and The Stepford Wives. When it was released, Cherry 2000 struggled at the box office, with its blend of sci-fi, action, and romance genres failing to find a clear audience. However, over time, the film gained a cult following, with fans appreciating its quirky charm and nostalgic appeal. Its mix of post-apocalyptic survival with gender roles, technology, and relationships was ahead of its time, making it a hidden gem in 80s cinema. The film's oddball world-building, strong performances, and offbeat narrative have made it an enjoyable watch for fans of cult sci-fi and 80s nostalgia. 3. Videodrome, 1983. In Videodrome, director David Cronenberg delves deep into the dark intersection of media, technology, and human consciousness. The film follows Max Wren, the president of a small cable TV station, who becomes addicted to a mysterious pirate broadcast that features real torture and murder. As Max becomes more obsessed with the broadcast, his grip on reality begins to disintegrate, leading him to question what is real and what is part of the media manipulation. The film is a surreal journey into the dangers of mass media and the potential consequences of a world where extreme content is constantly accessible. Videodrome didn't have an immediate impact at the box office and was initially criticized for its bizarre premise. However, over time, it became a cult classic, praised for its thought-provoking themes about the desensitization of society through technology and media consumption. Cronenberg's unique blend of body horror, psychological tension, and social commentary resonated more with audiences in the years following its release. The film's exploration of the human body's relationship with media still feels shockingly relevant in today's era of streaming and social media, making Videodrome a hauntingly prophetic film that has earned its place in the annals of sci-fi cinema. 4. Enemy Mine, 1985. Set during an intergalactic war, Enemy Mine is a heartfelt and surprisingly emotional sci-fi drama that explores themes of prejudice, survival, and redemption. The film follows Willis Davidge, Willis Quaid, and Yariba Shigon, Louis Gossett Jr., an alien from the Drax species, who are forced to crash land together on a desolate planet after a battle. Stranded, the two enemies must learn to cooperate in order to survive, despite their cultural differences and initial hostility. The film's strength lies in the chemistry between Quaid and Gossett, whose performances create a believable bond between the two characters. The film offers an insightful commentary on the futility of war and the importance of understanding others, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable differences. Although it suffered from a troubled production and was considered a box office flop, Enemy Mine found a new audience through home video and has since developed a cult following. Its themes of unity, empathy, and overcoming prejudice resonate with audiences to this day, and the film is now regarded as a hidden gem of sci-fi cinema. Despite its initial commercial failure, Enemy Mine has earned its place in the hearts of many viewers who appreciate its thoughtful narrative and emotional depth.
5. Brainstorm, 1983. Directed by Douglas Trumbull, Brainstorm is a fascinating exploration of human consciousness and the potential dangers of technology. The film stars Christopher Walken as Dr. Michael Brace, a scientist who, alongside his colleague Karen, Natalie Wood, invents a revolutionary device that can record and transmit human sensations and emotions. The technology allows one person to experience another's memories, feelings, and even near-death experiences. As the film explores the ethical implications of such a powerful invention, it dives into the emotional and psychological impact on those who use it. The tragedy surrounding the production of Brainstorm adds an extra layer of poignancy to the film. Natalie Wood's untimely death during filming, combined with conflicts with the studio, resulted in a production plagued by delays. The movie was released under a cloud of difficulty, receiving mixed reviews and a lackluster box office performance. However, Brainstorm has since gained a cult following for its ahead-of-its-time concept and strong performances, particularly Walken's. The film's exploration of technology's potential to invade personal consciousness remains a relevant topic, and its unique premise offers a thought-provoking look at the intersection of science, technology, and human emotions. 6. Explorers, 1985. Explorers is a sci-fi adventure film that captures the essence of childhood imagination and curiosity. Directed by Joe Dante, the film follows three young boys, Ben Ethan Hawke, Wolfgang River Phoenix, and Darren Jason Presson, who begin receiving mysterious signals in their dreams. The boys, motivated by the urge to explore the unknown, use their creativity to build a homemade spaceship out of scrap materials. Their adventure leads them to a breathtaking encounter with extraterrestrial beings, reshaping their understanding of the universe. Despite its strong performances from its young cast and a whimsical, imaginative narrative, Explorers struggled at the box office. The film was released in a crowded market filled with other family-oriented hits of the era, which may have overshadowed its potential. Nevertheless, Explorers has since become a cult classic for those who grew up with it, appreciated for its blend of science fiction and heartfelt nostalgia. The film's sense of wonder, the DIY spirit of the kids, and its exploration of discovery and friendship resonates strongly, especially with fans who first saw it as children. In an era filled with big-budget family blockbusters, Explorers stands out as a charming and imaginative story about the boundless possibilities of youth and the great unknown.
7. Life Force, 1985. Life Force, directed by Tobe Hooper, is a wild and unconventional film that blends sci-fi with horror. Based on the novel The Space Vampires by Colin Wilson, the story follows a group of astronauts who recover 3 humanoid bodies from a derelict spacecraft. When these bodies are brought back to Earth, they turn out to be space vampires that drain life energy from humans, wreaking havoc across the planet. The film is full of bizarre and over-the-top moments, including intense scenes of destruction and a particularly memorable performance by Matilda May as the alien vampire. Although the premise was intriguing and the special effects were groundbreaking for its time, Life Force struggled to make an impact at the box office. Critics dismissed it as a campy, absurd spectacle, and many found the mix of horror, science fiction, and eroticism to be jarring. Despite this, Life Force has found a niche audience who appreciates its audacious nature and the way it explores the supernatural in a sci-fi setting.
The film's unique combination of horror, alien intrigue, and apocalyptic stakes gives it a lasting appeal, earning it a cult status among fans of 80s exploitation cinema. With its surreal atmosphere and moments of absurdity, Life Force continues to captivate those who enjoy films that push boundaries and embrace their weirdness. 8. Buckaroo Banzai, 1984. The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension is a unique and absurd film that blends multiple genres, from sci-fi to action to comedy. The titular character, Buckaroo Banzai, Peter Weller, is a polymath who balances his life as a physicist, neurosurgeon, test pilot, and rock star. In this offbeat adventure, Buckaroo must save the world from interdimensional aliens called the Red Lectroids, who are led by the eccentric Dr. Sidney Zeibel, John Lithgow. The film is filled with quirky humor, strange characters, and an unpredictable plot, making it difficult for many to grasp on its initial release. Critics found it confusing, and audiences struggled to comprehend its bizarre tone and eclectic mix of genres. Despite its box office failure, Buckaroo Banzai has since become a cult classic thanks to its loyal fan base and memorable lines. The film's wild mix of action, comedy, and science fiction continues to inspire fans, and it's regarded as one of the most original films of the 80s. It spawned comics, a novel, and a proposed TV series, which was never made. Buckaroo Banzai remains a beloved oddity in cinema, celebrated for its whimsical nature, its distinct characters, and its refusal to fit neatly into any genre. The film's enduring charm lies in its eccentricity and its ability to entertain with its sheer unpredictability.
9. Dune, 1984. David Lynch's Dune is a cinematic adaptation of Frank Herbert's groundbreaking sci-fi novel, a complex tale of politics, religion, and ecology set on the desert planet of Arrakis. The story follows Paul Atreides, Kyle MacLachlan, whose noble family is entrusted with the governance of Arrakis, the only source of the highly coveted spice melange. As rival factions vie for control of the planet, Paul discovers his own latent powers and embarks on a journey that will determine the fate of Arrakis and its people. Lynch's Dune is an ambitious and visually stunning film, filled with intricate world-building and philosophical musings. However, the film's dense plot and the challenge of adapting such a complex source material led to mixed reactions from critics and audiences. Dune underperformed at the box office, and many found the narrative difficult to follow, especially for those unfamiliar with the novel. Nevertheless, the film's lavish production design, memorable performances, and haunting soundtrack by Toto earned it a dedicated following. Over the years, Dune has come to be appreciated for its unique visual style and Lynch's imaginative approach to the source material. While not a commercial success, Dune's reputation has only grown, and it remains a beloved, if enigmatic, sci-fi film that continues to inspire discussions among fans and filmmakers alike. 10. The Thing, 1982. John Carpenter's The Thing is a masterclass in horror and sci-fi, set against the cold, isolated backdrop of Antarctica. The film follows a research team who encounter an alien life form capable of imitating any organism it comes into contact with. As the creature slowly infiltrates the team, paranoia and mistrust build, creating a tense atmosphere where no one is safe. The film is a remake of the 1951 classic The Thing from Another World, but Carpenter's version is far more terrifying and grounded in body horror. The special effects, particularly the groundbreaking creature designs by Rob Bottin, are some of the most iconic in horror history. At the time of its release, The Thing was a box office failure, largely overshadowed by the success of E.T. the Extraterrestrial, which offered a much lighter and more hopeful vision of extraterrestrial life. The Thing's bleak, nihilistic tone and graphic effects turned off mainstream audiences, but over time, the film found a dedicated fan base. Today, it is considered one of the greatest horror films ever made, influencing countless films and filmmakers in the genre. The film's exploration of trust, isolation, and the fear of the unknown resonates deeply, and its status as a horror classic is solidified, especially in the realm of sci-fi horror. The journey from box office failure to cult classic is often as unpredictable as the alien worlds these films explore. The 1980s may have been a tough time for these sci-fi gems, but their endurance proves that sometimes the greatest stories aren't told in their first few years. They're discovered later by those who truly appreciate their weirdness, creativity, and heart.
Whether through VHS rentals, midnight screenings, or online fan communities, these films continue to thrive, inspiring new generations of movie lovers. So next time you stumble upon an 80s sci-fi flop, remember, it might just be the next big cult hit waiting to be discovered.